I remember the first time I tried VR. The overwhelming moment, the feeling of being completely disconnected from reality. It was so simple. I was blown away by just bouncing those colorful balloons with VR controllers while standing in a literally empty Steam VR room. It was all low resolution, big pixels everywhere, and yes, a pretty narrow field of view. Still, it was amazing. A wow moment to remember, and you probably never get to experience that twice, I thought. Roughly a year later, after being completely sucked into VR gaming and making YouTube videos calling myself Sweeviver, I found myself on the exhibition floor of VR Days in Amsterdam. I was there solely because I heard of something crazy being showcased, the Pimax 8K. An ultra-wide field of view and high-resolution VR headset from a company I knew nothing about at this time. Finally, I strapped on that Pimax and it instantly hit me. The same overwhelming feeling, but this time significantly more immersive. I felt like Wade when he got shot right into the oasis, that scene from Ready Player One movie. And I thought again, this is virtual reality. I immediately realized that VR is the only gaming platform that can bring you that wow, holy shit feeling not only once but over and over again. At least when it's done right. When looking back over the years, Pimax is the company that's always been pushing for this, pushing the limits and let you revive that wow moment for each new generation. And today, I want to talk a bit more about that, about Pimax. Not specifically the latest products and how many millions of pixels these headsets can render, but about the spirit of this company and about the unique vision and goal of breaking boundaries. And frankly, what do I think means to go where no one has gone before? Some of you may not know this, but Pimax is now almost 10 years old. It was founded by Robin Wang, a young visionary guy that started grinding 24/7 in a freaking garage like Steve Jobs, soldering chips on PCBs, creating prototypes of next groundbreaking generation of VR products, while also looking for possible investors, right? Maybe that's not the true story here. There was no garage, but it's not that far off. Pimax began as a startup. Robin loved VR from day one and he felt the urge of pushing VR onwards. He was looking at the most high-end components available at the time being and thought, how can we improve VR with this? You see, he was never satisfied with the current state of VR and he felt he could innovate beyond what was theoretically possible. To achieve this, he set up a test lab and filled it up with a team of engineers. Thanks to his close connections with LCD panel manufacturers and vendors of necessary parts, this tiny startup company got access to some top-tier components that could be and would be essential to reach the company's targeted vision and goal. And soon, the first Pimax headset was born, the Pimax 4K. Although personally I completely missed that Pimax 4K era, never owning that headset. But I did hear a lot about Pimax already back then and it got me curious. So in late 2017, over there at VR Days exhibition, when the upcoming 8K headset was shown, I quickly realized that Pimax was different. They had a vision of doing something groundbreaking in contrast to what other companies were even considering trying in the early days of VR. Robin's plan for VR blew my mind, literally, and it sucked me in. This was big, and I desperately wanted to contribute and be a part of it. Being an engineer and a small VR YouTuber, I was lucky to join Pimax back in 2018 as a volunteering beta tester together with a group of other enthusiasts and YouTubers. We got access to the latest Pimax headset prototypes, and I can tell you that obviously it was quite a bumpy road from the start. As with any other startup company, it's almost a mission impossible turning a janky mock-up prototype into a working commercial product anyone would even consider buying. Most of these startups fail early, never even getting halfway. But then again, Robin understood something essential that others may have ignored, and that is the impact and importance of carefully and seriously listening to feedback while also being open to new ideas. Even the craziest ideas, especially ideas provided by customers and enthusiasts like me, as well as the entire VR community. I met Robin for the first time in person while volunteering and setting up and hosting the first Pimax enthusiast and backer meetup in Berlin, Germany. I must say it's almost funny, but Robin was literally the exact opposite to other company leaders I've met in the past and the way they were like. My first thoughts were like, hey, this guy, this rather young fella acts like a pure enthusiast and not like a business-minded guy I was expecting him to be. You know, he might dress up in a suit, but he acts like an old-school gamer and tech nerd like me. You know, that geek, so to say. Obviously, he is a highly educated guy, but still having that childish mind deep inside, full of silly ideas randomly popping off his head. Anyway, throughout the Berlin meetup, I slowly realized that the entire group of people visiting, maybe 100 in total, Pimax 8K backers and enthusiasts, played a very important role. They basically became a part of the Pimax team, together making history. Every single person in that venue got engaged and involved. We were all blown away by the VR technology that Pimax have brought. We had fun, we laughed, we turned into kids again and shared that moment, bringing the excitement and passion for the same time and niche we all couldn't help but to love. And this, in my opinion, is what Pimax as a company have been mainly about throughout the years. Working together with that spirit, sharing that vision, and making it happen, always with a passion. Not only when living in the great moments, well, let's say when announcing new products, but also when trying to survive the storms caused by delays, struggles, well, changed plans, layoffs, and lockdowns during COVID times. And yeah, there's been plenty of that. In early 2019, Pimax finally hired me. Now I was a part of Pimax for real. And when visiting the headquarters office for the first time that year, all pieces fell into place in my head. In fact, it wasn't just Robin being that geek. Almost the entire Pimax crew showed to be a big group of crazy VR gamers, enthusiasts, geeks, and grown-ups living the VR passion. You know, it's somehow kind of like seeing those so-called AFOLs, or adult fans of Lego. Those grown-up guys building entire cities out of plastic brick toys with enthusiasm and total commitment, and I could so relate to that. That is the spirit I'm talking about. Because almost every product and every software feature that Pimax has created until this day is the result of a futuristic vision, tons of creativity, and a bit of craziness behind it. Every wacky idea that eventually turned into a real product was born with that enthusiastic mindset, like, hey, let's go crazy, let's make it happen, and see if it's even possible. It's like Robin wakes up in the morning with a new idea, rushes to the office, brainstorms with the team, and 2 hours later, we have a plan for the next generation Pimax product. You may call that crazy, I would call that efficiency instead of bureaucracy. And if you have seen our previous and current product announcements, you know exactly what I mean. Okay, sure, some ideas not always turn out that well as planned. Plans sometimes change over time, and especially delays might at this point be a trademark of Pimax. But overall, the goal of finishing and actually releasing these products has mostly been successfully achieved by Pimax against the odds. It's pretty simple. Promises made and promises kept, almost every time. Oversized optical lens solutions allowing a wide field of view, modularity making products more interesting and versatile, a futuristic out-of-this-world design that differs from anything else on the market, and most importantly, technology that makes competitors feel old. Pimax is always a few steps ahead of others, and sometimes ahead of itself, for better or worse. But that is unique. Now, then why are there so many different products? I've heard that question over and over again from enthusiasts, customers, and people I meet at roadshows, for instance. We've got the 4K, the 8K, the 5K, the 5K Plus, 5K XR, and even an Artisan. Then came the 8K Plus, actually two versions of the 8KX. Then came the... Oh, that's just a silicon cover. Wait, while editing this video, I just realized there was also a 5K Super, of course. And then the fact that there were two different versions of the 5K Plus. One which had higher refresh rate. I think I got it all now, right? Crystal with the AIO mode, Crystal Light without AIO mode. Now the Crystal Super is coming with that crazy resolution. And wait, we also have that Dream Air in progress.
Wait. We also have a 12K coming, right?
And yeah, I didn't forget it. I was just simply trying to avoid the topic. We also had the Portal versions for a while. Well, yeah, I do agree it's insane. So why? Well, I will tell you why. It's simple, and I've learned this by working with this team for quite many years now. What drives Robin and his company forward, as far as I can tell, is rather unique passion and vision for two things: innovation and variety.
I actually think it's called variety, and I think you're referring to variation, right?
A cool idea might pop up, a new feature becomes possible, and suddenly the team just decides to make a new product including it. I don't know if it's totally accurate, but the way I see it, after working with Pimax for more than 6 years, I perceive that most Pimax products are born out of the engineer's passion and a futuristic vision, and not really based on a business-minded strategy to make a fortune. Now imagine for a second a VR industry without Pimax throughout the years. Wouldn't that be quite boring, even today? Now think about it, most companies these days tend to work with a more conservative and safe approach, even in the VR industry, by creating products based on already proven concepts and towards established markets and a broad mainstream audience to begin with. Supply and demand, the common business strategy and safe bet to guarantee some profits. Yeah, or they simply aim for the professional market and make the products overpriced. Well, Pimax thinks differently, which is somehow also the beauty of Pimax, I would say. I feel like this is how you allow yourself to break boundaries, to create unique products without limitations or without limiting yourself. This is how you can stand out from the crowd within the VR industry, and with this approach, you meanwhile also happen to build an essentially hardcore-minded next-level VR community full of enthusiasts that fully supports you and values your efforts. The way I see it, this is also what to go where no one has gone before really means. Never stop being creative, never stop innovating, no matter if current technology is already outstanding, just keep pushing to make it better and make it your own thing. Now, that's also what keeps me engaged with Pimax for so many years, totally committed and excited for the future to come. And I'm not alone on this journey. With that said, let us raise a toast for Pimax in the past, the present and the future. And let's go where no one has gone before.